Welcome everyone. Sorry, you probably saw the cable. Blech. I hate when I see cables in shots. Not a fan. Boom, baby. Welcome. Mate talk time. This is actually take 2. Cheers to me. Hope you have a nice drink. I'll tell you a little about that in a minute. The first take, I stopped. I accidentally dropped my mate. That's why it motivated. I had stuff everywhere. And secondly, I'm like, I could hear myself. I'm like, I'm speaking way too fast. I was hype out of the max. And I'm like, slow down. I'm gonna make everybody nervous. I'm gonna give everybody, make you guys all like nervy. I'm like, cool down, cool down. Let's just enjoy a moment together. Let's enjoy a moment together. Let's talk about perfume. It's something that I'm very passionate about, something that I love. But I'm also passionate about connecting with people and you know, trying to, otherwise, yeah, I just don't want it to be, yeah, anyway. So let me begin again. Let's start again. There are some announcements of today, and I'll tell you in more detail at the end. One of them is that Libertine Perfumery, the promo actually ends this Sunday. There are only 2 entries. So if anyone is interested in winning a $450 bottle, then your chances are very high. So anyway, I'll tell you more at the end of this production. Second thing is, I do have this incredible fragrance here, MICODELIRIO. It's still in wrapper, and I'm looking forward to opening that. It took a while to get to Australia. Fragrance artisans are the best. I'm appreciative for, you know, they're my purveyor when it comes to all things Nasomatto, so I do look forward to opening that. And they expedited it to me. You know, they kept me in constant connection there. The last is that I will be talking a little bit more about Olfactive Traveler, but just quickly, just so you know, Dolce Milano is back in stock. So if anybody was interested in that, you can have access to it. Okay. So I mentioned that there is a promo running with Libertine Perfumery. We've been planning this for some time. Penhaligons is a brand that I've always loved. I did ask them, would you guys be willing to donate a bottle of fragrance for you know, for the channel? They said yes. My mission was to shine a light essentially on all things Penhaligon. And so for those who may have missed it, the first episode was really about the classics. The second episode was about the portraits. And as I mentioned, I love all things that what these guys do. I mentioned in the last week's episode that I do love wearing changing constants. Now, by looking at it, it does give the impression that it is a female-leaning fragrance. So this sort of antelope, very delicate-like. The profile of the fragrance is a touch spicy, like a cardamom on that opening with a caramel, salted caramel vibe, beautifully amber, vanilla on the dry down. If you look at Fragrantica, it leans, the votes in there, it leans 100% feminine. But I actually said in my episode last week that this is a fragrance that I love. And if anything, I was actually wearing it during that episode. So I love wearing changing constants. It's a wonderful, cozy fragrance. I find that on a man, I guess the sensuality of it has been really pared back. It just becomes just a beautiful, I called it a cozy fragrance. So there's not sexually charged in any way. So it's a really beautiful, cozy style fragrance. Now, there is a subscriber to the channel. Her name is Zara. She's a local lady here in Victoria, and she reached out to me. Firstly, she said, surprised that I wear Changing Constants. It's a fragrance that she loves, but she feels that it's very feminine because of its vanilla and caramel and blah, blah. She also mentioned, and I'm really happy about this, that I do like doing the if you like, then you will love. And I wrote that if you like Polka by Père Noir or even Starlight, that you would love this. And she said, you nailed it. That's exactly how I feel, that those 2 fragrances are a good support to this. So if you like those other 2, you're gonna love this, by the way, boys. Actually, sorry, boys, the girls are gatekeeping this. So I would recommend Changing Constants as a fantastic fragrance for a man to wear. Zara then, and this is what motivated today's episode on Mate Talk, Zara then went on to say, isn't it interesting how marketing, here's the comment, changes our perception on things. And I'm always banging on about how a man should be wearing rose fragrances. Rose fragrances are beautiful. And she thought, well, what's the opposite then? How about, could you recommend some woody ambers that I guess are more masculine leaning that you would recommend? So today's episode is all about woody ambers. These are now, and I purposely, Zara, this is for you, by the way, I purposely selected fragrances here that are a little bit more robust when it comes to their woody, spicy, or even, when I say spicy, that oriental, sort of feeling to it, and that can be deemed a little bit more masculine leaning. Let me talk about this. So early on, 18th century, early 19th century, there was no, in marketing or in sales, there was nothing applied gender-wise to a fragrance. In fact, men would wear violet and rose. I mean, some of the, the beard creams and mustache creams to twirl their mustaches were actually either violet or rose scented. So a beautiful smell was a beautiful smell, and both men and women would wear this essentially. Then what happened? In early 19th century or 20th century, as the middle class began to develop, marketers and brands realized that if we can split the market, we can now have, we can have a dual market now. We can have, we double our market overnight. So they started to promote to men and started to promote to women. For men, it was primarily woody, spicy, and musky fragrances. For women, it was fruit and sweet, or fruity and sweet, and floral fragrances. So those two were deemed, this is masculine, this is feminine. Added to that, in the US in particular, they even designated language to say a cologne is deemed as a fragrance for a man, whereas a perfume was deemed as a fragrance for a woman. So this segmentation became much deeper within the US. The truth is, a smell is a smell. And I've said this many times before. If you like the scent of something, if you apply it to your skin and you then smell and you're like, smells pretty good, and then actually then mix in with your own body chemistry and it smells great, do it. Okay, so it's got rose, a guy, big deal. Or if it's got leathery, woody aspects to it and you're a woman, big deal. If it smells good and you like it, that's what you should go with. So today, as I mentioned, I am going to go into some woody ambers. Boys, this is going to be awesome. Girls, Zara and other ladies, these are some awesome fragrances that I would recommend you go and check out. Number one has to be, this is Roma 271. And apart from the fact that it's my own brand, Olfactive Traveler, this one here nearly was not created. It nearly came close to never being born. And that's primarily because I had a very clear vision as to what I wanted the Rome fragrance to be, but so did Kevin. Kevin wanted it to be aromatic and bright and citrus and gladiator fighting in the Colosseum. Whereas for me, Rome is more about discovering. It's about layers. It's about you have to live with it to understand it, as opposed to see it from a distance and get what's going on. So we were in lockerheads on this. The great thing was Luca Maffei, who created all our fragrances, was very respectful and created two iterations, one with Kevin's sort of brief and one with mine. There is a video that I created which I elaborated deeper on all things Roma 271 and its build and its backstory. And in that particular episode, there's a video in which we were in Exons. Kevin was there, and Sandra and Emily, his wife, with Luca. And my response there is in the moment, and that is I smelt it. This is a new iteration that Luca had created for us to smell whilst we were at Exons. And the moment I smelt it, I'm like, this is it, which is this one here, by the way. I'm like, this is it. This is Roma 271. This is the one this is the expression of Rome. Kevin was not, didn't agree, and you can see it in that video. He was uncomfortable, and he's like, no, this is not it, this is not it. We need to sit with it. We need to live with it for a bit. Long story short, he was testing Roma 271, my version, and I was testing his, the one that Luke had created for him. One day, Kevin kept walking past his wife, Emily, and she turned around and said, look, what perfume are you wearing? Because it smells amazing. And every time you walk past, I'm getting the sillage, and I love it. Now, this is from a person, so Emily, does not like perfume. She doesn't wear perfume. So for her to make a comment so pronounced as this, it was like, that was it. I remember Kevin saying that he was disappointed that he had lost the race, essentially. But at the end of the day, the best fragrance was born, and it really is an incredible fragrance. Now, when it opens, and I do want to give you the opening, because it has, I find that the opening of the fragrance is stunning, and it captures you instantly. It really is a collection of these arresting notes. There's like a cinnamon bark woodiness to it. There is a spiciness in there. There is this coffee and a blood orange that are almost like not necessarily fighting for dominance, but they're both sort of interplaying with each other. And again, this is what we wanted. I wanted this coffee note, this aromatic sort of roasting, that, you know, when you smell, like if you're in a beautiful location and you smell a beautiful coffee being roasted, or it's alluring. It draws you in, but it also has an acrid smell to it. There's a like a, what is that exactly? This fragrance here just does this beautiful, brings you in. It just invites you. That blood orange is not your classic citrus. It does have a bit of a bitterness to it, and the sweetness levels have been really toned down. I always say that when I smell this fragrance, when it opens, I can almost see, it's like half light. You're not quite seeing clearly. It's dusk. Things are a little bit sort of shrouded in mystery, and it's divine. So on the opening, it grabs you, but the journey of the fragrance is divine. And where I am now, it does have incense as one of the notes, but this is not your classic Gothic church incense. This is now a peppery, papyrus-like dryness to the fragrance. It does have a vanilla in there, it does have patchouli, so there is a little bit of that camphorous dryness, but a touch of sweetness happening. I do find that the blood orange seems to come back around. I don't know how that's possible. I have smelt this on others, in particular my son, and I do get like a citrus sort of feeling in the air when he's wearing it. For me, it's a romantic fragrance. It does take me to Rome. For me, this actually captures Rome beautifully. Now, one thing that I have noticed, if you jump on the Olfactive Traveler website, it has the most reviews. So most people have actually commented on this particular fragrance. Only one woman. So ladies, the boys are gatekeeping this from you. I'm now here to bust this thing open. Zara, this is found in at Oligarch, so if you're going to go test it, everyone else around the world, you can jump on our website. There is the OT Traveler, which has all three sticks. It comes with a leather case. It's a great way to experience the brand in its entirety, and plus you get that beautiful leather case. Roma 271, I'd recommend it. I get on my skin, I'm going to say 7 hours, but the truth is I get 9+. I wore it the other day. We went out into the country. There's a beautiful retail outlet that actually is selling all the OTs, all the Olfactive Travelers. It was a cold day. It was my fragrance for the day. We were gone for 9+ hours. I was still detecting Roma off my skin. Sandra was also commenting that she could still smell Roma even at the very end of the day. So it does have good push, nice medium, moderate when it comes to its projection. Boom. Great fragrance. I would recommend it. It is WoodyAmber, so you do need to like sort of more camphorous, ambery with the spices in there in your fragrance. Next one. Another one that I absolutely adore, and this is Clive Christian C. This is the Wood Leathery Oud, I think it's called. Yeah, Woody. Oh man, I can't even see. I have to take my glasses off. I'm not going to. But anyway, Leathery Oud is what the fragrance is about. This is. I always thought that this was a very masculine-leaning fragrance, which it is, meaning that it's very leathery. It has a very pronounced woody oud in its base. It does have a bit of a booziness on that opening. I have a very close friend of mine, so I bought this. She tested, loved it. This is a petite woman, and I happened to have a 10 ml travel, and I said, you know what? I gifted it to her. I said, why don't you take that? She rocks the fragrance. So I've smelled the C on her, and it just smells, it smells impressive, meaning that it doesn't even smell like what I perceive as it smells on me, this particular fragrance. On me, I do get a very that very pronounced leather, that very pronounced woody oud element to it, whereas on her, there is a sweetness that's in there. Now, I do get the sweetness, but on my skin, I seem to, I guess, or my nose, I seem to pick up more on the woody, leathery aspect of it. But you are getting that sweet element, whereas on her it seems to accelerate more, whereas on me, I'm getting more of the woody aspect of it. Awesome fragrance. This now, the only thing about it is that it is a linear sort of expression. I find that for me, where it is what it is. It does open with a bit of a booziness on that opening, a bit more sweetness, or a bit more like a whiskey barrel sort of element to it. But then as it moves through, it does go into that oud. It's not over the top. It's definitely present, and you're getting also that leather and that woodiness coming through. A big recommendation. Another one where, ladies, I think this one here could easily be a comfortable fragrance for you to wear. When it comes to its sea edge and projection, 8 hours without a problem, and I do get also moderate when it comes to the way that it sort of moves around. This is another one that is very popular with my son, Nelson. He loves wearing that particular fragrance. The next one that I would put to you is now this glorious fragrance here. Now, I was into, oh, yeah, actually I picked up the wrong one. But here's the one that I did want to put forward. This is now 1270 Extreme. And personally, I think this one is an easier fragrance for anybody to wear. This is a celebration of the original cognac 1270 that was created. This is about the fruity and the barrel and the wine and those dark fruits and a little bit of the citrus. I mean, the original is absolutely classic. I find the Extreme has great bones. It has longevity. It is a woody amber. It would be something that could comfortably fit here, but truthfully, a woman can easily pick this up and wear it. So the one that I want to put forward to you is actually Bonne Chauffe. This is now in that sort of marketing construct, a lot more masculine leaning. It has a lot more robust nature when it comes to its woody aspect. It has a lot more robust nature when it comes to the spices, the aromatics, the patchouli that's in here, but this is supreme. Now, Bonne Chauffe means either good toast or good heating. And it's all part of Frapin is an ancient 1270 French cognac maker that's been around forever, and they celebrated their history with 1270. This was the fragrance they came out with. Actually, I'm always banging on about David Frossard. So David Frossard actually started with Frapin. He's the one that pitched to them, to the Frapin family, let me help you create these fragrances. And the rest is history. So this was his first foray into perfumery on his own. So Bonne Chauffe is now an extension of that cognac concept. And it's about the second heating that happens in the actual cognac itself. I do get a very rustic feel from this fragrance. I can actually see like a 1270 setup, you know, horse and carriage. Everything's very musty and wooden and you know, old school, no heating. I can smell hay everywhere. There is a sense of, I feel like, even though I never lived it, there is a sense of nostalgia in the scent profile that this has. I wrote here in capital, boozy. So if you love, but this is, so if you love boozy fragrances, this is just incredible. However, this is not your touristy boozy. This is now a very robust, very intense, very rich boozy fragrance. Give me a second, because when it opens, it's magic. But let me just see. I'm just making sure. I've got a few on that are somewhat similar. So this one and this one are very similar to each other, but this is Bonne Chauffe here. And it's settled. I really thought on the opening, I get a lot more of the intense booziness and that intense, almost patchouli. Give me a second. Yeah, there it is. This intense booziness from it. Oh my gosh. you can almost like literally unstop a cognac or like a brandy, you know, something that's been, you know, maturing for 25 years. Super deep, super intense, super rich, you know, you almost get those, the plum, dark fruits really, you know, soaked in its own juices. It's amazing. But actually here it's not too bad. So I did write here that spicy herbal is that opening. You are getting these, the spiciness, like a herbal nature coming through along with those fruits. When it dries down, I do get, and I put patchouli glory as its definition. With elements of that woody and that spicy piece to it. This is not for everybody. So I have shown this to a few people. My son, who does love boozy fragrances, does not really like this. He finds that it's very robust, very in your face. Where 1270 or 1270 Extreme, very lovable, very easy to wear, anyone can pick up and really appreciate. Bonne Chauffe is now something that is, for me, from the brand, very artistic. The next one that I'm going to talk about is the brand Parfum here, and these guys do artistic fragrances. I would put Bonne Chauffe in the same category. If Marc-Antoine came out with this, I wouldn't be surprised. So for Frapin, I think it's nice to see this come forward because it's a beautiful creative expression, but a glorious fragrance. Really a big recommendation, not a lot of people talk about. I did go into a lot more detail in this particular episode here, so you can check that out and discover for yourself. But you do need to like woods, booze, and patchouli in the actual fragrance. I'm gonna stop, my battery is gonna end soon. I'll be back. I'm back. Okay, so I gave you a bit of a sneak peek. So the next one that I want to talk about is Parfum d'Empire. This is Marc-Antoine, and he creates quite unusual fragrances. Now, not to the point where they're not unwearable. They're very, I mean, if anything, they're glorious. But if you're like a new recruit or even a semi-pro, they may not be your jam, whereas a veteran onwards, there's a lot going on here, and he also expresses things in a very unique way. I've been really enjoying the fragrances that he creates, and these are ones, I wouldn't even go as far as saying none of them are blind buying worthy. You really should explore them first, test them on skin, and see what they do. Now this is very much so Zara, this is for you. This is Fougere Bengal. And if there is any structure that is more man, it's Fougere's. And so, but I'm going to say try this out because this is actually quite impressive. Noah, for those who are here local Melbournians, Noah in the city actually have the full collection. So go speak to Liam. He'll be able to walk you through this, and you'll be able to test it out there. So the classic Fougere, which men have adopted as theirs, is that aromatic sort of lavender herbal sort of aspect on that opening. Then it has the accentuation of that Kumarn, which was, when it was first created, that's what made it unique. It has this sort of tonka tonka hay-like sort of aspect to it. And then finally it has that oak moss in its dry down. It's been classified as a barbershop style of scent profile. In truth, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, I find most classic barbershops very boring because they're very similar and they're almost predictable. Okay, so you want to try a Fougere that's very different and almost to the point where it really follows what the structure should be, and that is herbal with that hay-like element and then the oak moss. Then Fougere Bengal is the one for you. When it opens, but it's not for everyone. I'm going to give you a warning here. Okay, so please, this is not for everyone. Let it do its thing. You actually, it's one of those fragrances similar to the Orto Parisi. Just spray, leave it alone. Just let it do its thing, and you'll find that the sillage and the projection and its presence in the air is divine, as opposed to you putting your nose to it and going, oh my gosh, what was that? Although I will tell you what's on this hand, and that is one you could bury your nose in for days and you'll be happy. All right, so here, I'm deep in the dry down now. When it opens, let me just spray that opening. It has the wildest, and you know what? You look at the notes and you're like, I'm not getting that. because when this fragrance opens, it says things like lavender and mint and something or other. What I get is, I do get a herbal aspect of it, but there's a booziness in here. I get this sort of boozy element, and I think of Bonne Chauffe. That's Roma 271, beautiful. Okay, so it's come off that booziness, but they're very similar in the sense that, I mean, when Bonne Chauffe opens, it opens exaggerated booziness. Whereas there, yeah, I'm getting the lavender now. So I'm getting that lavender, but not, and here's what I love about Marc Antoine. He's actually written this in the past, where he says that some people say, oh, I love particular notes, but that note is a constructed note for perfumery. He says, if you were to smell the extracted note, you know, from nature, there is an animalic funk to it, or there's a robust nature to it. It's not what you think it is. And he wants to retain the soul of that extraction, rather than now sort of blend it in such a way that it sort of washes out its purity, or it washes out that essence, its soul, you know, once it is extracted. So what I'm saying is, lavender, we think, oh, it's aromatic and, you know, sort of bright and sparkling, whereas in fact, lavender can be a little bit dirty. It's a little bit animalic when it dries, when extracted from nature. And that's what you're getting here. I find that all these fragrances are very robust, and they do have a sense of dirtiness to it, you know. I'm almost convinced too that he puts a cumin in everything, because I'm always getting like a sweaty vibe to it, like a sweaty skin or something of that nature. Anyway, when this opens, it does have a very clear herbal aspect to it. It does, to my nose, seem very boozy-like. As it moves through, it does go to a caramel, hay-like quality, and finally, when it does dry down, it does go to that oak moss, that earthy, but I still continue to have this caramel, and the way that I can define it, because caramel makes you think of gourmand and vanilla and stuff like that. So think of it more like a malt. So this malty vanilla, sort of cereal-like element to it. So everything is very organic, very grounded in nature, as opposed to now throwing in some molecules with vanilla and you know, caramel and things of that nature. There's something quite unique about the fragrance, is that it's highly addictive. For me, it's highly addictive. And unlike most Fougères, which I find, you know, a tad boring and sort of yawn through them, here I'm on my toes. I'm like, what's going to happen next, you know? So where it begins, how it moves, where it rests, how it plays out throughout that whole experience is phenomenal. I was wearing it yesterday, and I was watching TV late, and I just kept saying to myself, man, I smell good. I smell good. And this has happened to me before. So another one that I really love is Ambre Rousse, or Ambre Russe. I don't know if that's right, but that's how I said it. Which is that beautiful Russian amber with the vodka sort of vibe to it, vanilla in there, warm, just magic. So anyway, I'd recommend this one. So Fougere, Monegal. It is designed for a man, but I would say, Zara, go out and test it, see what you think. I do find that I get 7 hours without a problem. Its sillage and projection is not huge, so it goes into that, opens moderate, and then it comes in a little bit tighter around me, but it's not a body scent. It's always very, I'm always very aware of it. It's very present around me. Boom. All right, the next one. As I mentioned, this one here, shish kebabs, that's twice. I'm on a roll today. The first one I stopped, I'm not gonna stop now, I'm gonna keep going. So, but I just dropped my mate again. There's a lot of things playing in the back of my brain, which I won't go into detail about, and I think maybe it's coming through in my nervous systems anyway. The next one that I really love is this glorious fragrance here, which is Gris Charnel Extrait. Have a look at this production here. I go into the details between the OGs, the 3 that are in the OGs, and then the 3 extracts that support them. For me, I absolutely love the extrait. I did mention in that episode that Sandra loves it when I'm wearing Gris Chanel, the OG. It's a lot more subtle in its construct, meaning that you're getting that the opening is the fig and the black tea. It has the cardamom, a gentle touch in that. It's not too heavy. It actually is quite not skin-like, but it's quite subtle in the way that it performs. Whereas the Extrait takes it all to another level. I do feel like the fig is now being drowned in caramel. There's a lot more sort of vanilla and a lot more sort of succulentness from that. I do feel that the patchouli has also been turned up deeper into the dry down. I find that the projection on this is huge. I find that its longevity is massive. So everything about this one here really sort of amps it up. Now, truthfully, this can be an easy wear for a man or a woman, but within my home, Sandra, one, she enjoys Gris Chanel, the original, whereas it's not one, when it comes to the Extrait, it's not one that she reaches for. So I think it could be the fact that the patchouli has been turned up a little bit more. There is a little bit more of that mustiness present, but it's super easy. Unlike Fougere Bengal, which is glorious, but I'm picking up that slight maybe cumin note, and could be the lavender, because I know that lavender, when it is extracted, does have a very animalic sort of sweatiness to it also. But it's a good fragrance. It's a statement maker in the sense that it creates a very unique profile. Gris Chanel Extrait, it's a lot more appealing. It's a scent profile that you're somewhat familiar with because it has those familiar aspects to it, and so it creates much more of an allure. It's a great fragrance. So if you want, and let's do it slowly, if you want a really great fragrance, Gris Chanel Extrait, I would highly recommend it. Boom. All right, last one. Actually, I've got two more here, but I'm going to stop because otherwise I'm making a mess of this. This is Oud on Fire by Monegal. I have become addicted to this fragrance. So this is a fragrance where I discovered it probably about 2-3 months ago, and it's an easy reach. This is because I have my ratio of reach and use. If I'm going out, if I know that I'm going to be out in the city, if I know that I'm going to be somewhere where it's going to require a fragrance to push itself out, I don't even think. It's like an automatic, my brain goes straight to Oud on Fire, and away we go. This is not, here's the interesting thing. I was going to say, this is not for everybody, but I really feel that it is, because the scent profile on its dry down is just, it's lovable, it's alluring, it's the oud is, and the spiciness from that cinnamon in there is just divine. However, on first spray, it is a little bit like, ooh, what is this? So both Sandra and Nelson likes oud fragrances. Again, I go back, he loves this guy here. So C masculine with a very distinct leather and woody oudness to it. Loves that. But he came over, we were going out, I was going out with Nels, and he came over and I said, you should try this one out. And he's like, ooh, I don't think so. He goes, this doesn't smell, it smells different, it smells weird. And I'm like, well, it's the one I'm wearing today. So I leaned forward and let him smell. And he goes, oh, it smells good on you. He chose something else in the end. So on opening, it does have a robustness, almost like that leather note, but now in that gasoline style. So really sort of amped up, really, really intense. There are some herbal, just my brain wanted to grab a note then, but it has a herbal aspect to it also. There's a herbal aspect, and I know that it does. So on the opening, I know that it says that it does have cinnamon, and I know that it says it does have geranium. Now, geranium normally is a green, rosy-like element to it, but you don't get that. I don't get that from the opening of the fragrance. If anything, as I said, it has a herbalness to it. It does have that very leathery, gasoline-like piece to it. Leave it alone. Just spray it and let it do its thing. I was, not that I had doused myself in it, but I had done about 4 sprays. We were going out into the city. It was a cool evening. And I just wanted this thing to be in the air. Anyway, throughout the evening, Nelson kept saying, actually, I should have worn your one. It smells really good. My one that I'm wearing, it's vanished on me. I can't even smell it, but I'm smelling you constantly. Sandra was catching up, so Nelson and I had dinner, and Sandra was catching up with a girlfriend, and then we met them in the city, and I walked up to her, Lee is her name, and gave her a hug, and she's like, wow, you smell amazing. That's oud, yeah? So it has good presence. I mean, and I had now been wearing it, because I'd been wearing it pretty much all day long for about 5-6 hours, and it had presence all around me. Even in the cold air, even with jackets on and all the rest of it, the fragrance was still quite pronounced. As it does settle down, the cinnamon does come forward, the spiciness does come forward, the woodiness of the fragrance, the oud, just immaculate. I would highly recommend Oud on Fire, Monegal. I've knocked it out of the park. This one here, sensational. I've spoken it. I did like a oud lineup, and I did mention that this is one of my 5 favorite oud fragrances, so I would put that on your radar. I put here that 24 hours without a problem, and you do need to like, I wrote here, you do need to like woody oud, and you do need to like spicy, that woody spicy element, and in a fragrance for you to really adopt it. Boys, easy. Girls, you need to like those particular points to fall in love. Boom. You know what? I'm going to stop one more. Nah, you know what? I'm going to keep going because I've got mate all over my sheet here. I'm going to move that carefully across. I had 2 more here, which I'm not going to do because I'm going to, it's just going to, 7-hour mate talk. The other WoodyAmber that I would recommend to you is obviously Amouage's Black Iris, Interlude Black Iris. I've spoken about this many times. Have a look at this particular video. I actually did that, that video there with Daniel, so we both spoke about it. It's a great fragrance. So but I tend to find that boys seem to reach for that one quite easily. And another one that I really, really enjoy is the Duran Duran Neo Rio. Xerjoff Neo Rio. Have a look at the production I created on that. That's another great fragrance that if you would like to explore, you can. Bing, bum, boom. All right. Now let me unbox this baby. Finally. Now I've got no real estate on me, and I knew that this was going to happen. So let's do a live unboxing. I'm covered in perfume, but I decided I'm going to put it under here, and I think that will then allow me to smell it. Now, it's taken a long time for it to land in Australia. I do want to thank, again, Fragrance Artisan, because they have been keeping me up to date as to the arrival of this particular fragrance. I do like, for those who might not know, I do love this purpley sort of suede element to it. I do know that the fragrance came out in a very unique lid. Didn't like the lid, I have to be honest with you. I know it's unique and is numbered and all that sort of stuff, super cool. I like the look of this lid, this one here. Sorry, I had that. My brain wants to say that it would have a smell. All right, here we go. So that's the new Nasomatto. Oh, there it goes. I'm like, oh, the lid's broken. Here we go, new Nasomatto. Let's begin. So I'm just gonna spray it in the air first. Boom. Now, everyone's been talking about it. I've tried to avoid any comments. Oh wow, funky. There it is. I've tried to avoid any comments regarding the fragrance. Some people are saying love it. Others are not loving this at all, giving it a hard time. On opening, you are getting a very deep, musty cupboard. So think of, you've gone to your uncle's house. Actually, long story. So we knew a friend who was not in a good place mentally, and his house was just like terrible. And we were helping him clean out, and this is what it reminds me of: opening up the cupboards and that deep, musty, like earthy dirt, moldy. That's what I got on that opening. So mushrooms, basically. It's actually, just to give you a heads up, I don't need to get too close to this. It's in the air. It actually has a very deep, earthy mustiness to it. And it's competing against all the others. What I'm getting is, even though Gris Charnel is here, I'm getting Oud on Fire coming through, by the way. I just got a sweet note coming through. So the opening is quite intense, deep earth, very mushroom, very danky cupboard. But now, oh, and I got it again then. Oh, like a herbal note now. Actually, I like it. All right, so I'm gonna have to let myself wear it. It is competing with everything else. Oud on Fire. Oud on Fire is like not letting it breathe. It's going, no, 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 I'm the boss here. I'm the one in charge. But I also think that some of the profile of this is actually intermingled with this, because Oud on Fire does have obviously the oud and the woodiness of it, and I'm getting some elements of that, the oud, not oud, that woodiness, the earthiness, the very organic sort of nature, organic feel to the, but I'm also getting, again, there it is. Sorry, I'm gonna stop. Let me test it out. Let me explore it. I have a feeling that I always love, just a heads up, so let me finish. I have a feeling I'm gonna love this. I do love fragrances that on first approach, I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure. Just to quantify this, there are fragrances that I know I don't like. And the moment I spray, no matter how long, I just don't like them. Whereas there are some that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about this. When the moment my brain goes, I'm not sure, I'm like, okay, this is one that I know I'm gonna fall in love with. So I've got a feeling that this could be something, and again, it's Nasomatto, it's Alessandro. I need to wear it on its own. It really is. It's definitely competing against everything else I've got on me. And then I'm getting even like a carrot note, I think. I'm getting like a carroty, there's a sweet something in there that's making me like a carrot root. You know when you juice the carrots and you get that sweet sort of profile? There's something else going on in there. I'm excited. I do like Alessandro's work. I do like the craziness that he develops. And I do look forward to spending some time with this baby and letting you know. I'll promise that I'll give it a good month. I'd like to wear something for at least a month. And then I will do a review on that. Boom. All right, so in closing, everybody, I want to share with you the Libertine Perfumery promo that's running. As I said, there are 2 entries right now. You have a chance to win a $450 perfume. All you got to do is spend $2.99 and use the code NFC10H to go into the draw to win that. Now, in amongst what I just shared with you today, so Gris Charnel Extrait would be part of that. Any of the Clive Christians would be part of that. Any of the Frapins would be part of that. Obviously, the Penhaligons would be part of that. So you can buy anything across their site as long as it's $2.99. Use the code and you'll go into the draw to win that. Now, the promo will end this Saturday, 11:59, and then I will spin the wheel next week. So if you want to be a part of it, chances are high, because I'd be surprised if all of a sudden you get 100 entries, but you know, even 10 entries would be still a really good odds. Actually, another one is Oud Satin Mood, Black Iris, Interlude Man. In closing, all right, so let me tell you about OT. So Olfactive Traveler, the final part to this is that we are about to announce a new release. So if you are not familiar with the fragrance that was created alongside Luca Maffei, Olfactive Traveler is the brand. There were 3 fragrances that we created. One is Dolce Milano, Roma 271, which I mentioned, and Pelle Viola. You can buy the Traveler set, which gives you all 3 sticks, plus a beautiful travel companion that you can use. As of the 1st of August, roundabout, we're going to begin our messaging and communication. So what I would invite you is jump on and join the newsletter. So you'll be part of the conversation on that. As soon as you join the newsletter, you will get a bit of a welcome gift. So yeah, join the newsletter, and that way you can be part of the conversation. Would love you also if you can go across to the Instagram for Olfactive Traveler. There's some some really great content that's been created by Grace. So I'd love you to support that too. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Let's go, baby. We're getting very close, which is exciting. So yeah, if you haven't already followed us on that page, I'd love you to do so. And that then, as we get closer to the 1st of August, we'll begin to tell the bigger story that's coming around when it comes to the new release that's about to drop. Boom, finished. Thanks everyone. As I mentioned, there's a lot in my brain right now, a lot on my brain. So if you've made it this far, you're one of the supporters of the channel. And yeah, it's just a lot on my brain. Goodness me. It's like, anyway. If you got any questions for me, please let me know. Anything in regards to these fragrances, I'd love to hear your comments and also other recommendations that you may have. Otherwise, we'll see you guys all on the next episode. Bye everyone.